Hello, it's Debra Jason, the accidental artist with Creative Whispers of the Heart. And I'm painting a silk scarf with alcohol inks today, doing a geometric technique. This is 8 inches by 72 inches, and I'm folding it in half lengthwise. And then once I folded it all the way across, I'm going to iron it. So I create a seam that goes down the 72 inches of the scarf. Now you can see I'm folding it, and I have already ironed it in approximately 4 inches by 4.5 inch squares, but I'm layering it one square on top of the other. So it's a little thicker than normal when painting a scarf, so you have to make sure that the ink will go through all the layers. First, I start out by taking Rainforest Green and going along the edges. I want this to create the borders of the squares. So you can see I'm just pouring ink. Doesn't have to be fully saturated. Just going along the edges. There are, as you can see, many layers because you have folded it over and over again into these little squares. Going along those edges. See the thickness there. Adding a little bit more here. Like I said, it doesn't have to be fully saturated, but I want the ink to spread when I add some alcohol to it. These are the seams of the scarf where it has actually been sewn. And again, going over the edges, pouring some of that Rainforest Green. This is 91% isopropyl alcohol, and just pouring it along the edges so that the ink starts to spread. I still have that one edge left right there. So I will go along the edges. These again are the seams. Just dripping the alcohol ink on there. Getting most of it covered there. You can see there's still a lot of white. But then I will take my alcohol and you'll see it start to bleed and spread along those edges. So there we have it on one side and the other, all around those squares. Here's what it looks like inside. Now I'm going to just drop some of the alcohol ink on the silk. How you do it is up to you. I'm just adding alcohol, dropping it down on top of the ink, letting it bleed and spread. You're going to need to go through every layer and add some ink, and then, of course, add some alcohol. I lift the silk layer by layer and just adjust it accordingly. Dabbing some of that alcohol ink in there, adding some of the alcohol on top of it. You can see I am wearing gloves because this will get a little messy. And as always, it's important that you work in a well-ventilated area. If it's not well ventilated, please remember to wear a respirator mask. You can tell here I'm using a lot of alcohol, so you want to be safe and be sure that if you're not wearing a mask, that you are in a well-ventilated spot. Have windows open, doors open. And I'm getting down almost toward the bottom here. Simply dropping down ink and then adding isopropyl alcohol. Now all the layers are done. Touching up the bottom layer there with alcohol and a little bit more ink. And then once that's done, you can see here's what the little pile of squares looks like. So now I'm going to let it dry and then I will iron it. Here's my supply of alcohol ink and alcohol and gloves. And here's the unveiling, the unfolding once it has dried. You can see the lines of the squares and how all the ink blended. Nice pattern across. And then when I open it fully up, again, it's 8 inches by 72 inches. This is how it looks when it's unfolded. You can see the lines along the middle seam. And in some places, I did not get a really defined line. So in that case, I decided that I would go back, take some ink, and pour it along that line there. It came out as quite a different effect. I added a little bit more alcohol on top of it. And you'll see I do it in another place there. I wanted that line to be a bit more defined. And then I do it in one more spot. Just dabbing a little bit more alcohol ink and then adding some alcohol on top. So those lines when I was done did not come out as defined, but now I let it dry. And after it's dry, I soak it in vinegar and salt. If you watch my video number 21, it highlights the whole vinegar salt process. But it's about a half cup of vinegar, a little bit of salt in cold water. I do this in my sink. You might want to do it in a plastic tub. And then I let it soak for about 15 minutes, sometimes longer. It just depends if I'm busy or not. And then when it's dry and ironed one more time, here's how it looks when I unfold the whole scarf. Geometric squares. And here it is. I hope you will give this try, painting your alcohol ink scarf with a geometric technique. And if you enjoyed this video, I hope you will like it, post a comment, or better yet, share it with your friends. And as always, please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks a million for watching.